Hello traders, and welcome to StockGoodies Chart School. No Sure Thing, or KST, is a weighted average of 4 different rate of change values that have been smoothed. It was developed by Martin Pring and was first introduced in a 1992 article in Stocks and Commodities magazine. In short, KST measures price momentum for 4 different price cycles. It can be used just like any momentum oscillator. Chartists can look for divergences, overbought, oversold readings, signal line crossovers, and center line crossovers. So let's go ahead and load up KST on this chart for Alcoa AA here at stockcharts.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the chart attributes area, and in the indicators, click on that box, and right here is No Sure Thing. Now remember that it's 4 different rate of change values that are combined to smooth out, and the settings are, you can't see them all here, so let's just go ahead and click Update. And as you can see, rate of change is set at 10, 15, 20, 30, 10, 10, 10, 15 with the signal line at 9. And the current reading is slightly bearish at minus 2.95, just below the zero line. The primary signals KST gives are crossovers down or up through the signal line and crossovers either above or below the zero line. Above zero is bullish and below zero is bearish. KST can be used just like any other momentum oscillator, like the MACD, the PPO, and the TRIX. It most closely resembles TRIX, and because it's unbound, it's not really well suited to identifying overbought and oversold conditions. Signal line crossovers and trend line breaks are best for signals in conjunction with other forms of technical analysis. First, let's take a look at the bullish signals the KST has given on this chart for AA. Okay, right here, it was below the signal line and then crossed up through it as it broke out on huge volume above this area of resistance. Things were looking good. It was still above the zero line at that point. And then something happened, which I'll talk about in a minute. Okay, here was an attempt again to cross up through the signal line that did not work. There was no volume behind it. It formed a double top, broke down support right here, and fell. Okay, that was a bearish crossover. Here's the next bullish crossover. It's down at minus 50, so it's pretty bearish at this point. But KST crosses up through the signal line right there. Pretty good volume for 4 or 5 days as a huge white candle appears and tries to break out of this area of resistance, but fails because of this doji and the red volume that follows. But it forms a bullish inverse head and shoulders with the left shoulder right here, the head right here, the right shoulder right here, and the trend line resistance or the neckline right in here. And when it breaks above it on this day, volume is pretty good, and KST takes off and separates from the signal line. Then it forms a bearish chart pattern, a sell signal comes in. The next buy signal comes in right here when KST is below the 50 line this time. But it crosses up through the signal line after some huge volume near a bottom. So that's calling a bottom. And then it has a few good days of volume. Okay, as it breaks out above resistance in this area on that trend line, and the stock goes up. Okay, now right here it has crossed back down through the signal line, but because of the huge volume on Friday and the huge white candle that opened at the low and closed at the high, closed above this doji reversal, that's the highest close since back in this area right in here. Okay, so that's what you want to see. This is also a bullish double bottom chart pattern, almost a cup and handle, because the second low is much higher than a normal double bottom would be, about down here. So this is a breakout on a bullish double bottom chart pattern above resistance right there on huge volume. So I would expect KST to cross up through the signal line at the open on Monday as the calculations are made, if it continues to go up. Now let's look at the bearish signals KST is given on this chart for AA. Right here it crossed up through the signal line but immediately back down through it. Not sure exactly what happened there, but you could go back, do some fundamental analysis, look at the news, look at the earnings for that particular period. But the stock falls hard. Okay, right here KST crosses up through the signal line but then back down through it, and the stock goes down. Right here is the big one. Right here, after the big run, AA forms a bearish double top chart pattern shaped like an M, and the trend line support is right in this area. So when it breaks below it on this day and closes below that, huge volume comes in, KST crosses down through the signal line, okay, and the stock falls hard. It attempts a bounce back to the old area of support, and it becomes resistance. It breaks down below this area of support and falls very hard on super high volume. The fall becomes vertical. The high volume says a top or bottom is near, in this case a bottom, and the stock starts to recover with a number of bullish candlesticks in this area. Okay, when it breaks above the trend line of resistance right in here on this day, it closes at the highest close in a number of days on very good volume. Okay, then it approaches the top. There is a almost perfect shooting star with a bearish engulfing red over white candlestick. Okay, the stock goes down. This signal came a little bit late, as the stock had already broken down on a tiny double top chart pattern, which is bearish, and it breaks down. Now let's take a look at KST on this chart for GRPN. Let's take the bullish signals first. Okay, that's where KST is below the signal line and crosses up through it, like right there. Stock goes up from roughly 550 to just over 6. Okay, that's a bearish crossover. Here's the next bullish crossover. So basically, if you like the stock and you want to get in, buy the dips. Buy the little buy signals after a pullback. Okay, because it's about to break out again from 7 almost to 8. Okay, that's a bearish crossover. The next bullish crossover comes right here. Nice volume on this one. Back it up just a little. It looks like right there. Okay, really nice volume for 6 or 7 or 8 days. The stock runs from about 750 to about 950. So that was a good signal. Now let's take a look at ARRY. Let's go for the bullish signals first. Okay, here's the zero line. KST is below the signal line, just barely dips below the zero line, but then crosses up through it right here. Stock goes up, does it again, it crosses down through the signal line and then back up through it. Right there, biggest volume on the chart. Stock goes up, closes these couple of days at the highest close on this whole time frame of the chart. So that's bullish. Does it again. KST crosses down through the signal line, crosses back up through it. There's your buy signal on huge volume as it closes at the high in blue sky territory above all levels of resistance on this chart. Okay, it's bullish, bullish, bullish. It comes down and kisses the signal line and then bounces here. Volume is picking up hugely. The stock tops out. Lots of tall upper wicks. Okay, next buy signal's down here. The stock is decidedly bearish with a reading of almost minus 200 down here. But the KST crosses up through the signal line just before the day, a pretty good volume that sends it up on a double bottom chart pattern, which is bullish, and it actually closed this day right here on this volume above midline resistance at the neckline. Okay, so it goes up, really good volume. This day, the KST is positive the entire way. Right here, it crosses up through the zero line. Right before the huge volume day on either good news or good earnings, This is a biotech stock, so it could have been good news from the FDA or earnings. And the stock gaps up from 560 to about 610 or 20 at the open the next day.